Hey guys, what's up? Happy Monday. I don't normally wear my earbuds when I go live, but I am today because it is raining something awful outside. So here I am with my earbuds coming live with you. And today I want to talk to you about your story and whether that story is factual, like it's actually true, or it's an interpretation, maybe something that you're interpreting to be true about yourself. And I want to share something with you. So one of the first weekends in my coaching process, somebody said something to me. They said something to me that struck me and never struck me before. Never considered it. And after they said this thing to me, which I will tell you in a second, it really, really affected me because I started to realize how believing this thing that I thought was factual, when it really was only an interpretation, was affecting my story in so many ways in my life. So if you don't know and you haven't watched me before, I'm currently getting certified as a life coach. Blah, yes, for me. And hopefully for you too. And my very first weekend in my program, you go and you meet people and you learn a whole bunch of different things. And somebody who had never met me before in my whole entire life said to me, well, you're so obviously a creative. And I was like, what? Like, what? What do you mean? I'm so obviously a creative. And at the time, I had this pink stripe in my hair and, just me, I'm shaved all the way around, whatever, just being me. And so they said that to me and it blew my mind. I was like, what do they mean I'm so obviously creative? And they said, well, that's the essence of you. You are obviously creative. Looking at you, I think that you are creative. And it really sat with me. And I really sat with it. And the more I sat with it, the sadder I got because of it. And, I mentioned it to my husband and I mentioned it to my coach. And, my coach said something to me. She was like, so you don't think that you're creative? What? Again, this was happening to me. Everything in my life was what? Because it was affecting so much. And I came back and I sat with it and I realized I never thought of myself that way because of the story I was telling myself. And it had nothing to do with anybody else but me, right? But throughout my life, a lot of people that I was surrounded by, yes, albeit were very creative, were also really intelligent and not from this perspective that I was, right? I was a theater person. I took voice, I danced, I dyed my hair all kinds of crazy colors and I shaved my head. But I so wanted to be like them, smart and be able to do things like math and science. Those are not my bag. I mean, I like math in the sense that I like my bank account numbers to go up. And, that makes me happy, but it never was my bag. I just don't like it. I use the calculator on my phone for everything. It's not my bag. And for such a long time, I developed this story in my mind that being, creative was not really something that I was either. So like I said, I was in theater, I was dancing and singing, but all these other people were great at it. It was just something I did as a hobby. I wasn't really creative. And when I took a step back and I looked at it, and I thought about that story that I had adapted around it. That was being creative is not going to make me money because I'm not going to be the next Julia Roberts. In my master's program, I had a teacher tell me that I was a terrible writer, so I could never be a writer. And it was just okay, I'm not going to be able to ever do anything that's creative, so I need to assimilate into something else. I need to be maybe good at math. I need to, be good at my day job because I'll never be able to excel as a creative. And as I accepted that and I ingested it, I started to see that a lot of things in my life were stalled. They were not moving forward. There was no forward progress. And there were no forward progress in the things that I really wanted to do. I'm writing a book about my struggle with infertility. I want to be a life coach and help people be creative in their lives and create in their lives. And in order to do that, I need to co-create with them. I need to be creative. And I was running into all these roadblocks. And once I sat down and I was with that thought, right? Somebody saying to me, you're a creative. And me going, no, I'm not. What? I started to see that me accepting that as fact, I am not creative enough, was preventing me from moving forward with the things in my life that I wanted to create. In addition to that, when I also sat back and I looked at how I struggled and suffered through infertility, I also realized that a story was created there. And the story that I created in my mind was, I am weak, I am insufficient, I'm not feminine, I'm not sexy, I am nothing, I'm defective, broken, throw me out in the garbage if I can't have a child. And so the stories that I was creating and the stories that I was buying into were ones that were holding me back. They weren't the ones that I wanted. You know, I want to be creative. I want to co-create with my clients. I want to write a book. I want to give a voice to infertility. I want to stop feeling like I suck, infertility sucks. All these things surrounding this and this pool that was just going back and forth, and this story that I wanted was so far out of reach, because I was accepting these things, this story, as fact, not as interpretation. And because I was accepting it as fact, it was preventing me from the story that I wanted. So one of the things I wanted to come live today and talk to you about was your story. And I know if you've watched any of my videos and you think that's confusing, like my story is this is what's going on in my life, consider that it's not fact. Consider that it's interpretation. Let's break it down for a second. So for me, I'll share with you, I have written over 90 pages of a book that I want to share with the world about infertility. And when I get real with that and I sit with it, I think to myself, I think that might be a little creative. That might mean I'm co-creating. That might be my creative self coming out. And when I think about infertility sucks, you don't, to all my peeps out there struggling with infertility, I love you. And I think about the impetus for it, right? When I created the title Infertility Sucks, You Don't, I had people coming to me being like, that is aggressive, you're aggressive. And when I'm really with that though, infertility is aggressive. Infertility can feel strong. It can feel all-encompassing. It can feel like fact. It can feel like infertility sucks, so I suck too. But when I sat with it, like I did my creative stuff that I just talked about, right? When I sat with it and I thought, no, infertility sucks, but I don't. Infertility sucks, but my peoples don't. That was an interpretation. It's not fact. I am not defective. I am not broken. Neither are you. You are feminine, sexy, beautiful, amazing. You're magical. So I wanted to come live today and I wanted to ask you to consider something. The story that you're sitting with right now, the story that's saying, these things, they're factual, they hold me back. And on the other side of that fence are the things that you want. The things that could possibly, if you look at them, think, is this an interpretation? Be with them, consider them. Consider the story that you're telling yourself and ask yourself this question, is this fact or is this interpretation? And if it's not fact, this thing does not get the power to hold me back. It's an interpretation. That's all it is. All right, guys, thank you so much for signing on. I love ya. My heart is always already with you. Comment below if you have any questions. Send me a message if you want to connect one-on-one. Otherwise, be easy. Have a great week. I love ya. Love you to the moon. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.